In 1919, one of the richest, most successful industrialists in the entire world was literally dragged into a Chicago courtroom.
Yeah, and publicly interrogated.
Exactly. Interrogated for the sole purpose of trying to prove that he was, well, ignorant.
Which is wild when you think about who it was.
Right. Because he didn't have a high school diploma. He didn't know basic historical trivia. But his response on that witness stand didn't just win him the case, it completely redefined what it actually means to be an educated person.
It really did.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are extracting the core insights from Chapter 5 of Napoleon Hill's classic text, Think and Grow Rich.
A phenomenal chapter, honestly.
It is. Our mission today is to explore what the text calls the fourth step toward riches and, in the process, completely dismantle that age-old cliche that knowledge is power.
Right, because it's not. I mean, it requires a pretty profound shift in perspective to see that.
Yeah, we want to show you how to transform raw, just unfiltered information into organized, actionable wealth, whether you're building a business or just trying to navigate your own career.
Because we are so conditioned to view intelligence as a sort of parlor trick, the ability to instantly recall a date or a random fact.
Like Jeopardy or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you examine the architecture of massive achievement, that whole academic model just completely falls apart.
And we have a really brilliant lineup of historical evidence from the text to prove that point. We will break down the psychology of that Henry Ford courtroom showdown, examine the ingenious business pivot of a Depression-era grocery salesman, and explore the precise mechanics of how you can legally borrow other people's brains. Okay, let's unpack this.
So the foundation of this entire philosophy relies on separating knowledge into two distinct categories. You have general knowledge and specialized knowledge. And the text points out a really fascinating paradox here. If you look at the faculties of great universities, collectively, they possess nearly every form of general knowledge known to human civilization.
Oh, absolutely. They're basically walking encyclopedias.
Right. But despite that, the vast majority of these professors have little to no actual wealth.
Which, that feels completely counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
We are taught from day one that the smarter you are, the more successful you should be.
Yeah, exactly. What's fascinating here is the why behind that observation. Why doesn't an abundance of knowledge translate to an abundance of capital?
Yeah, what's the missing link?
Well, the text argues that the fatal flaw in modern education is that it stops at transmission. Schools teach students how to acquire facts, right? But they completely fail to teach them how to organize and apply those facts after they acquire them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
A university professor specializes in the transmission of information. They do not specialize in the organization or the commercial application of it.
Which brings us to the central thesis of the whole chapter, really. Knowledge is not power. It is only potential power.
Yes, potential.
It's completely inert until it's directed by definite plans of action toward a specific end.
I always think of it as kinetic versus potential energy.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. Like a boulder resting at the top of a hill has immense potential energy, but it does absolutely no work until someone gives it a push and directs its path.
It's just sitting there.
Exactly. Information works the exact same way. Without a definite plan, a head full of facts is literally just static energy.
Okay, let me pause you there and play devil's advocate for a second, because I think a lot of people listening might feel, a bit defensive hearing that.
Sure, yeah.
Because we are told from kindergarten that a broad general education is the foundation of a good life. If you don't know history or literature or basic science, you lack critical thinking. Are we just throwing out the value of a well-rounded mind here?
No, not at all.
Because hoarding general knowledge feels like hoarding essential building materials?
Right, but we aren't throwing it out. We're just reclassifying its economic value. Your building materials analogy is actually perfect here.
Oh, yeah.
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 Having 1 million bricks in a giant warehouse does not mean you have a house.
True.
It just means you have a massive inventory of clay. To convert those bricks into a mansion, you need a highly specialized architectural blueprint.
Right.
And you need master masons to lay them down in a very precise, calculated order.
I see. So you can be the smartest person in the room standing next to the biggest pile of bricks in the city, but if you don't have the blueprint, you're just guarding a pile of dirt.
Precisely. And, millions of people walk around feeling inadequate because they don't have a massive pile of bricks, meaning they lack an elite university degree.
Yeah, they suffer from a massive inferiority complex over it.
Exactly. Meanwhile, They completely miss the fact that the people building the empires are rarely the ones who own the bricks.
Yeah.
They are the ones who know how to organize the resources. General knowledge will never attract money or success unless it is organized and intelligently directed.
Okay, so if holding a mental encyclopedia of general knowledge doesn't make someone powerful, we need to completely redefine what an educated person actually looks like out in the real world.
We do.
Which brings us directly to the ultimate example of applied knowledge from the text. I am talking about the incredible story of Henry Ford's libel trial.
Oh, this story is amazing. The context of this trial is crucial for understanding just how radical Ford's mindset was.
Set the scene for us.
So during the World War era, a Chicago newspaper published an editorial, and they basically labeled Henry Ford an ignorant pacifist.
And Ford naturally did not let that slide.
Oh, definitely not.
He sued the paper for libel, and the newspaper's attorneys decided their best defense was to plead justification. Like, they wanted to put Ford himself on the witness stand and prove to the jury, live in court, that he was genuinely ignorant.
Yeah, and they attempted to expose him using the traditional academic metric of intelligence. They just started peppering him with random historical trivia.
Like a pop quiz.
Exactly. They asked him questions like, who was Benedict Arnold? And how many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion of 1776?
Ford's response to that last one was so brilliant.
It was.
He essentially said he didn't know the exact number of soldiers the British sent, but he'd heard it was considerably larger than the number that ever went back.
A very sharp retort. But, the attorney just kept grinding away trying to highlight his lack of formal schooling.
Yeah.
They really wanted him to look foolish because his mental hard drive wasn't full of historical dates.
And Ford finally reaches his limit. He leans over, points his finger right at the lawyer interrogating him, and delivers an incredible response.
Oh, it's so good.
He tells the lawyer that if he really wanted to answer those foolish questions, he only needed to remind the court that he had a row of electric push buttons on his desk. And by pushing the right button, he could summon specialists who could answer any question he desired regarding his business.
Yeah.
And then Ford asks the attorney this devastating question. He asks, why should he clutter his mind with general knowledge just to answer foolish questions when he has men around him who can supply any knowledge he requires?
The courtroom was stunned. I mean, Ford just dismantled their entire premise of what intelligence is.
Completely.
And the text provides some really illuminating etymological context to back Ford up here.
Oh, about the word educate.
Yeah. The word educate does not actually mean to stuff a mind full of facts. It originates from the Latin word educo, which means to educe, to draw out, or to develop from within.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you are listening to this and feeling limited by your own background, think about how empowering that definition is.
It really is liberating.
An educated person isn't someone who has memorized a textbook. An educated person is someone who has developed the faculties of their mind to acquire anything they want without violating the rights of others.
Exactly. You don't need a PhD to dominate your field.
Yeah.
You just need to know the architecture of where to find the answers. Ford understood that cognitive bandwidth is a finite resource. Cluttering your mind with trivia actively degrades your ability to strategize.
Right, it slows the whole system down.
Yeah. He didn't have the answers in his own head, but he had the faculty to summon them. He had his push buttons. He proved that an educated person is simply one who knows where to get knowledge when they need it and how to organize that knowledge into definite plans of action.
But Ford's push-button strategy wasn't just a clever courtroom comeback. It was a highly deliberate business framework.
Oh, absolutely.
But Ford was a millionaire, right? He could afford to hire leading experts to sit near those buttons. That raises a terrifying question for the average person starting out. If the specialized knowledge isn't in your head and you don't have Ford's bank account, how do you build that architecture?
That is the big question.
And the text offers a specific mechanism for this called the mastermind group.
Yes. The mastermind is really the ultimate hack for acquiring specialized knowledge. The Time defines it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose.
And the text highlights Andrew Carnegie as the prime example here.
Right, the steel magnate.
Exactly. Carnegie amassed one of the greatest fortunes in history through the steel industry. Yet the book reveals he admitted he knew absolutely nothing about the technical end of manufacturing steel.
Nothing at all.
And furthermore, he explicitly didn't even care to know about it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychological and strategic brilliance of Carnegie's approach is undeniable.
How so?
Well, the accumulation of massive wealth or influence requires power. Power, as defined in this chapter, is highly organized and intelligently directed, specialized knowledge.
Okay.
But the key mechanism here is that the knowledge does not necessarily have to exist inside the head of the person directing it.
It's very similar to being a symphony conductor. You are the conductor of your own life and business. A conductor doesn't need to know how to play the oboe, the cello, and the timpani flawlessly.
Right, they'd never have time to learn all that.
Exactly. If they spent decades trying to master every single instrument, they would never have time to actually conduct the orchestra. Their specialized knowledge isn't in playing the notes.
No, it's in knowing how to bring together the people who do play those instruments
Yeah.
and coordinating them to produce a masterpiece.
And the requirement of harmony is what makes the mastermind work, right?
Yes, harmony is essential. You can't just throw a group of smart people into a room and expect a symphony. Friction destroys the coordination of knowledge. Carnegie didn't just hire brilliant metallurgists. He aligned them toward a singular, definite purpose.
Yeah.
The text specifically notes that this principle is the ultimate cure for anyone paralyzed by a lack of formal schooling.
Like Edison.
Exactly. Thomas Edison, arguably the greatest inventor in modern history, had only 3 months of formal schooling. 3 months! He leaned entirely on a mastermind group to supply the advanced technical knowledge he lacked.
So take a look at your own projects right now. What are the major gaps in your own knowledge? Where are you aggressively trying to learn how to play the cello when your actual job is to conduct the orchestra?
That's a great way to frame it.
Who do you need to add to your own personal mastermind to fill those technical blind spots?
Taking that inventory is so essential. However, I will say, while the text advocates heavily for utilizing the expertise of others, it warns against complacency.
Oh, for sure.
Relying on a mastermind does not mean you abdicate responsibility for your own cognitive growth. You cannot just completely outsource your brain, push buttons, and go to sleep.
No, the conductor still has to know how to read the music and understand where the symphony is heading.
Exactly.
You must remain a lifelong student of your specific major purpose. Which brings us to the necessity of continuous, specialized learning and adaptation.
Because the underlying premise here is that successful people never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to their major purpose.
Right.
The moment an individual believes their education concludes with a diploma, they essentially lock themselves into mediocrity.
The world just moves too fast.
Yeah. The economy shifts, technologies evolve, and yesterday's specialized knowledge quickly becomes today's obsolete general knowledge.
And the text provides a highly specific, practical example of this adaptability. It tells the story of a grocery salesman during the Great Depression.
Oh, this is a great case study.
He loses his job, which during that era is an existentially terrifying position to be in. But instead of waiting for the economy to recover or just applying for another generic sales job, he takes a specialized course in accounting.
He assesses the changing landscape. He recognizes that, selling groceries is a saturated, low-leverage skill in a depression. He needs a new, specialized capability just to survive.
But he doesn't just pass the accounting exam and look for a job at a firm. He uses his imagination to combine his new skill with his old sales background.
This is the genius part.
Right. He creates a portable bookkeeping office inside a light delivery truck. He literally puts his specialized knowledge on wheels.
Incredible.
And he begins driving around to small merchants, keeping their books for a very small fee.
We really need to analyze why this specific pivot worked so brilliantly.
Yeah, let's break it down.
During a depression, small merchants are desperate to track every penny to avoid bankruptcy, right? But they absolutely cannot afford to hire a full-time accountant.
It's too expensive.
Right. So the salesman identified a massive pain point and provided a high-return service with incredibly low overhead for himself. The text notes that this specific reorganization of knowledge allowed him to make 10 times his previous income right in the middle of an economic collapse.
10 times the income just by changing how the knowledge was delivered.
It's wild.
It is. And speaking of acquiring knowledge, the author actually shares a revealing personal anecdote about his own education in the text.
Oh, the correspondence course.
Yeah. He talks about enrolling in a correspondence course for advertising. And after completing a few lessons, he just loses his momentum. He stops studying and decides he wants to quit the program.
I mean, anyone who has ever bought an online course or started learning a new language can totally relate to that.
Oh, 100%.
The initial motivation fades, and the self-guided learning process just becomes tedious.
But this particular correspondence school had an incredibly aggressive collection department.
Oh, they were ruthless.
They did not care if he had stopped reading the materials. He had signed a contract, and they demanded their tuition. And because he was legally forced to keep paying the monthly fee, he reasoned with himself, well, if I have to pay for this, I might as well get my money's worth.
Right, the financial pain forced him to finish the course. This raises an important question about human psychology, actually, which the author explores deeply. Why do modern societies so frequently undervalue free public schools and massively funded public libraries?
It's a great question.
We have systems of knowledge available at zero cost, yet they are routinely taken for granted. The text argues that human beings instinctively only value that which has a price attached to it. The psychological weight of the cost forces engagement.
We respect what we pay for. The friction of the cost creates the commitment.
Furthermore, the author points out that intelligent employers specifically hunt for candidates who take home study courses or night classes.
Interesting.
Yeah, they aren't just looking for the technical knowledge those courses provide. They know that completing a self-directed course proves the individual possesses ambition, self-discipline, and the really rare habit of actually finishing what they start.
So what does this all mean for the architecture of your own success? Look at the deep irony in the author's story about the correspondence course. The most valuable lesson he extracted from that advertising program wasn't even the advertising curriculum. It was the grit, the promptness, and the decisive action forged by the pressure of that relentless collection department.
The pain was the lesson.
Exactly. The financial pain forced him to develop self-discipline. Think about your current situation. What tuition are you paying right now? It might be actual financial debt. It might be a grueling project at work, or it might be a temporary failure. What is the hidden curriculum of your current struggle that is secretly forcing you to level up your discipline?
Every challenge that forces you to acquire and implement new specialized knowledge is essentially a collection department.
I love that.
It is life demanding that you complete your own self-development.
Right.
You can either complain about the bill or you can extract the value from the lesson.
That is a very powerful way to reframe adversity. Okay, let's bring all of these concepts together. We have covered vital ground today, extracting the core principles from Chapter 5 of Think and Grow Rich.
I really have.
We started by shattering the illusion that simply possessing general knowledge makes a person powerful or wealthy. We established the fundamental rule that knowledge is only potential power until it is organized into a definite plan and directed toward a specific objective.
And we analyzed how Henry Ford completely redefined the metrics of intelligence. True education is not a measure of memorization. It is the faculty of resourcefulness.
Right.
It is the ability to locate specialized answers and deploy them effectively.
We explored the mechanics of the mastermind concept, too. You do not need to possess all the specialized knowledge yourself if you can coordinate a group of experts in a spirit of harmony.
Yeah, you can choose to be the conductor rather than trying to play every single instrument.
Exactly. And finally, we saw that lifelong specialized learning, when combined with imagination and forced discipline, is the true engine of economic adaptability. The grocery salesman survived the Depression not by working harder at his old job, but by organizing new knowledge into a highly leveraged service.
The intention of this deep dive was not merely to entertain you with historical anecdotes. If you want to escape the trap of being a struggling generalist, you must take a rigorous inventory of your assets.
Yep.
You need to evaluate the precise nature of your specialized knowledge, identify your technical blind spots, and critically assess the architecture of the mastermind you are building around yourself.
You have to know what building materials you actually possess before you start laying the foundation. So I want to leave you with a final lingering thought to explore on your own today.
Let's hear it.
We spent a lot of time talking about Henry Ford's push buttons and how you can borrow other people's brains to achieve your goals. But I want you to flip that dynamic.
Oh, interesting.
Look at the specific skills, the unique experiences, and the highly organized knowledge you possess right now. What highly specialized problem can you solve better than anyone else in your circle? In the grand economy of the mastermind, whose desk are you sitting on? Are you currently the conductor orchestrating the music? Or do you possess the exact specialized knowledge that someone else is desperate to put a push button on? Think about your utility in the market. Until next time, don't just hoard the bricks. Start building the house.